All right, hello and welcome to week 8. So this is going to be an interesting lecture because we're going to try and fit 2 different lectures into one because we have the midterm this week, and so there's only one lecture, of course. So we're going to I'm going to try and sneak some Python into this lecture, and hopefully you'll have time for everything. If we don't have time for this last bit, that's not a big deal. We'll just wait until next week. So that's where I'm headed. So let's start talking about social media. And this is going to be a fun topic because it's very likely that most, if not all of us, have at least one social media account. Maybe it's Facebook, maybe it's Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, who knows? So that is the idea. What are some issues on social media? How can we identify them, and can we make them better perhaps? And how can we make sure we're making good decisions on social media? So I'm not like a parent, but still we're going to talk about some stuff. So let's get started. So the first thing that is of interest, of note, for the realm of social media is that it's available. So it's available for everyone to look at, unless you are like making your account private, and that's harder to do on some platforms than others. So your information is usually by default, right, public. So that's a bit of a problem, right? If your Facebook profile, if your Twitter profile is available for everyone to see, well, anybody, including your employer, can go and look at it. So that is something we should talk about. And let's start with the work setting itself. So you're sitting in work, you're working on a computer that was provided for you by your employer. It's quite possible to install programs on that work computer that can monitor all of your actions. Okay, so you can even track every key that's being pressed if you really wanted to. So this is a level of surveillance on workers that was not possible before. So back in the day, it was like, all right, the boss, he went into his office, we can mess around for a little bit. Now, if you're sitting at a computer and you're trying to mess around, that could be recorded and noted, okay? So that's a little weird. That's different. Let's think about that. All right, let's talk now about getting a job. If you don't have one yet, you're about to interview, well, people can just Google you, and a lot of the time they'll find at least one of your accounts, right? Because maybe you use your real name, or maybe you're popular, maybe you're an influencer, who knows? So people can find you, and that might not be a good thing depending on like the kinds of posts that you make. I mean, everybody's entitled to their opinion, to free speech, but somebody who wants to hire you might be a little wary of some things that you say, perhaps. Okay? Or they judge you based on, like, how much of an adult you look on the internet. Okay? So that is a whole big can of worms, isn't it? Why should we allow these things? Why is it okay that all this is available? Maybe it shouldn't be. Maybe you should make all your profiles private right now. So it's unfortunate that things are usually public. All right. Some examples from the book, just to get you thinking about. All right, how could we maybe fix these? What are the best solutions here? A school district, I can pronounce words. They ended up firing a teacher because a Facebook photo that she posted had her drinking in a bar. And I mean, that's not a big deal, but this is all that the book said. I don't know like what type of school. Maybe it was like, I don't know, some kind of religious school maybe, where teachers are held to maybe a higher standard, something like that. But this is kind of innocuous, and yet the teacher was fired for that. Is that okay? Well, I think just a gut reaction from me, that's not okay at all. But maybe the parents, from their point of view, like they want the most law-abiding person, even though it's legal to drink, they don't want that person to drink. Who knows? So just keep in mind that what you do on the internet is public. I think that's the whole topic of this. So maybe I should write that in big bold letters so that when you're studying or when you come back to this, that's the one thing you get out of this lecture. Many things that you do on the internet, unless you're careful, are public. And this goes, obviously, beyond social media. There's more than just that, but this is a good topic to get us started. Here's another example. A sheriff fired a deputy sheriff for liking a Facebook page that was like about the campaign of somebody running against that particular sheriff. So I guess the deputy sheriff is the person right below the sheriff. And so apparently they didn't like him or her. They didn't like their boss, and so they made that public on Facebook, and they got fired because of it. This is a bit of an issue. Both of these are a bit of an issue. This one is like, well, you have a right to free speech, right? Well, maybe you also have a right in your contract to be fired for any reason. So don't mess with your boss, perhaps. And then this, a photo of her drinking at a bar. That's a bit odd. Why would that be an issue? Maybe the parents complained, I guess. And parents control the amount of funding schools get. Who knows? It's all a big can of worms, isn't it? So just, I guess, keep in mind that you're being watched, for better or for worse. Okay. This thing that bothers me a whole lot, usually it's older people that make these kinds of posts. Like, Facebook does not have my permission to share photos or messages. They just released this new update that will make it so that they can keep all of my information. I don't like that, so I'm going to make this post that legally binds them to not do that. That does absolutely nothing. Let me just tell you this right now. In case you were wondering or you've seen these before, that means absolutely nothing. Facebook is allowed to do so many things because just by virtue of you using their service, you gave them permission. Terms and agreements, of course. You have agreed to them, okay? So we'll talk about those in a couple slides. So I guess the idea is just by using something, okay? Just by using a particular service, by using Facebook, you have agreed to their requirements for using Facebook. Oops, what happened to my... Oh, I just drew white, of course. Okay, so terms and agreements, right? You agree to those, and you never read them. So maybe you should read them. And I guess we're just bouncing around between different social media topics. This one's kind of on the edge of social media, but technically counts. Duolingo, if you've heard of that, it's a place where you can learn languages, and there's memes about this owl who tries to keep reminding you to practice your language that you're trying to learn. I am very proud of my Duolingo streak. They used to finance their website based on translations. So the learners of a language would be given short snippets from maybe newspaper articles, little sentences to translate that didn't have too many big words or that matched the level that they were at in the current language that they were learning, and they gave translated versions of that. Let me use a new color to represent that. And they gave back translated versions of that, and so Duolingo would sell this translation service by these language learners, and that was a big deal for them. That's how they advertised their product. They're like, we're not taking money, we're not selling ads, we're not selling your information, we're just translating. And that's letting people practice the language that they're learning. It's a win-win, right? Well, it turns out they didn't make enough money that way, and so then they started selling ads. But then they scrapped that idea and started selling ads. Which, if you watch the videos of the CEO back in the day saying that this would never happen, it's very ironic. So that's unfortunate, but a fact of life. I still use Duolingo. Maybe you do too. Ads are a major topic, major topic, and I don't know if this belongs in this social media anymore, but Google is not a search engine company. You might think of it like that. That's how they present themselves. But Google is an ad company. Look at the money. So the vast majority, we're talking greater than 90%, I would venture to guess like 99%, but I can't be sure. Whatever the number is, most of Google's money is coming from ads that they display. And of course, you should be using an ad blocker anyway to block those, but they exist. Like on your phone, you can't install an ad blocker on the default Safari on your iPhone or something. So you're kind of stuck. And this is how Google's making their money. They're selling advertisements to people who want to show you stuff before you get to see your real search engine results. You always see those promoted things, right? Or on other websites, you see ads by Google. And so they sell all of that, and that's how people can make money too from your website. So Google's motive then is to make as much money as possible. They're a company. So by selling ads, they want to get people to click on those ads, okay? Because that's what it means to sell an ad. They want people to go and purchase whatever is being advertised to them, okay? So that's the point of Google. That's the point of advertisements. So what does that mean for you as a user of Google, okay? Or Google Plus, I guess, used to be a social media platform. I don't know. Maybe your email is social media for you, so this counts. So what does this mean in terms of you and your privacy? So this is a huge privacy problem because there exist targeted ads, right? Huge privacy issue. There are targeted ads. And just if this word is fuzzy in your mind, a targeted ad is they know a little bit about you. They know that you just search for, I don't know, what's the best kitten food, and you looked up some results. And so now when you go on Google the next time and you search for something different, or maybe you go on a website that has Google ads displayed, you'll start seeing advertisements for kitten food. So that's what a targeted ad means. And there's also things called cookies that can follow you around the internet. And so maybe you like something on Facebook and they're selling their data to Google. And so if you like something on Facebook, maybe that'll come back around and you'll see an ad about that on Google. So that's the idea, assuming they're talking to each other. So that's a huge privacy issue, I would say. And so maybe you should be using a different search engine, like DuckDuckGo, if you've heard of that. I had a little picture of it one day, and they don't track your information. So that is one side of things. So just when in doubt, follow the money. That's a big idea. And then let's talk about Apple. So Apple, how do they make their money? Well, they have a few services that they provide, like iCloud and Apple Music and all that stuff. But the main thing that they're making most of their money off of is hardware. So they're selling you your iPhone, your MacBook, your iMac, whatever they have. They're selling you that hardware and maybe the software that they wrote along with that. So they have a much smaller reason. They have a much smaller motive to worry about taking your privacy and doing things with it. So Apple advertises so much that they care about your privacy, and that's nice, and it's easy for them to care about your privacy because they're not trying to sell ads or things like that. So that's why I trust Apple more than maybe I use an iPhone rather than an Android phone, if you care about privacy, perhaps. So I guess when in doubt, follow the money. That's the idea I'm trying to get across here. And also, the big idea here is think of every social media platform that you use. Think of all of the websites that you use. Are you paying for any of them? Maybe Netflix, maybe, I don't know, Spotify has a website version of itself. Maybe you actually bought YouTube Premium. But a lot of you did not. You are not doing those things. So just keep in mind that when something is free, that company that you're using that made this website or this product needs to make money somehow. And so usually that means you're the product. Okay, so your information is being sold, most likely, captured and sold. Okay? Your information, history, is being captured and sold for a profit. So, sorry to just make it all seem horrible and like the world sucks, but this is exactly what's going on, and it's important that you understand this. Okay, so when a service is free, you're the product, and that brings us into terms and conditions, those things that nobody ever reads, right? So you're agreeing to be their pawn, like you're agreeing to have them take all of your information. And that is part of these things that you're agreeing to, these terms and agreements. So, terms and conditions, I guess. Dun dun dun. Let's go to this website. TOSDR.org. It stands for Terms of Service Didn't Read. I'm going to make this whiter. Okay, so they have a bunch of different websites, and these nice people, they went through and they categorize them into classes like Class C, Class D, Class E, and the lower down in the alphabet you are, the worse you are. So there are some that are like Class A, like DuckDuckGo. That's a website, that's a search engine that is really good about your privacy. But there's some places that kind of suck. So let's talk about Google. So let's talk about their terms of service, terms and conditions, whatever you want to call this thing. So, more details. Okay, so let's go through these and let's talk and see if they are, like, if it's okay to be doing all this stuff. Let me make it even bigger, maybe. There we go. This is something that I'd love to have a debate on in class. Gosh, I wish we were here in real life right now. So, here are some things that Google is allowed to do. These people have summarized their terms of service, their terms and conditions, whatever it is. So, they can collect, use, and share location data. Okay, so depending on where you are, they're going to try and give you more ads that are relevant to you. So like, they're going to give you an ad for Me and Ed's, something like that if you're around Fresno, but maybe if you go to Southern California where that chain doesn't exist, they're going to give you like Papa John's ads or something. Who knows? Okay, so that's something that they can do. Is that okay? Do you agree with that? One thing that you can do on your browser is turn off their ability to collect this data. Some browsers allow for you to turn that kind of stuff off, so that's okay. You can kind of mitigate it, but then at the end of the day, you still have an IP address that people can track your location from. Okay, so just keep that in mind. This service can read your private messages. Oof. So I guess, what does Google have? They used to have Google Plus. Now they have Gmail. So your emails, they can go and look at all those. Is that okay with you? Maybe that's fine. I mean, they have to store that data. You're giving them the right to do that. But they can go and read whatever they want. And it sounds like it's without a court order. They can just do it for fun. You agree to defend, indemnify, and hold the service harmless in case of a claim related to your use of the service. So, I don't know. If Gmail goes down and you lost all of your important emails, you can't see them, something like that. And that's not a huge deal. That kind of makes sense. But that's the thing. Is that okay? Do you agree with that? I hope that you are either like saying, yeah, this is fine, or no, this is not fine. This is what they should be doing instead, and this is how I will protect myself. Tracks you on other websites. So that's cookies. So even if you're not like using Google, if you use another website that includes Google ads or just code from Google, they're allowed to track the places that you visit, so they can give you better ads, of course. Dun dun dun. I don't really understand this one, but you can read that on your own. And tracking, fingerprinting. They'll know who you are even if you're not logged in. That's what browser fingerprinting is, or device fingerprinting. They can like figure out which fonts are installed on your computer, what language that your computer's in, what version of your operating system is. That's all information that you can get, that a website can get from your computer, from your web browser. And that information together is unique usually. So they can track you even if you're not logged into Google. That's disgusting. And then your device fingerprint, that's the idea. So these kind of go together. That's browser fingerprinting, device fingerprinting. Yeah, they can track all of this stuff. Dun dun dun. You can delete your personal data. That's the first plus sign, first thumbs up that we've seen so far, isn't it? Let's see what else. Can use your content for all their existing and future services. So, interesting. So maybe if you post something on Google, like save your images on Google Images, they can use that information to like train their machine learning models, or maybe to advertise things. That's kind of weird. Let's see here. Anything else that's of note? Those are the ones that I read before doing this lecture. So let's see if there's anything else interesting down here. May stop providing services to you at any time. This is kind of a big deal for Google because they like to make some services. Then they're like, oh, these aren't making us enough money, so we're going to stop them, which is funny. Let's see. Kind of makes sense though. I mean, they're just a company. They're trying to make money. They can do what they want. Keeps the right to your content when you stop using it, which is funny. Okay, so yeah, this applies to many things. So like the rights to your images that you take and store on Google Images, perhaps. Who knows? Dun dun dun. Jurisdiction in California. If you are like a poli-sci major, perhaps this might be interesting to you. A lot of court cases are thrown out because of venue. Like you live on the East Coast, Google is in California. They're trying to try you in a California court, and maybe that shouldn't apply, but you're agreeing to that applying for you, which is kind of weird. So yeah, that's Google. Let's find another one that's like horrible. Okay, so Facebook is Class E, so it's worse than Google apparently. Your identity is used in ads that are shown to other users. I don't know exactly what that means, but that's horrible. So maybe they're trying to advertise that you bought this one product to your friends or something. Who knows? I guess they're allowed to do that based on these terms of service. Tracks you on other websites. We're used to talking about that. Now everybody does that these days. Dun dun dun. Tracking pixels, browser fingerprinting, device fingerprinting. That's all here. Uses your personal data for advertising. So you're putting a lot of stuff on Facebook. You're putting where you live, you're putting your phone number perhaps, your email. They can get your location pretty easily. They can look at the images that you post and maybe see what places you've been to. So that's fun. Nothing ever really gets deleted. I think I might have said that once upon a time. Like Facebook, they store your data forever. Even if you delete your account, you can still come right back where you left off. They're not actually deleting your stuff. So that's what both of those mean. Oh goody. Personal data is given to third parties so that they can give you better ads on Facebook, so that Facebook gets money from that. Somebody put here, that's funny. And yeah, that's about all I wanted to say there. Some of them are really nice, like Wikipedia. Like they're, from a legal standpoint, they're very nice. You don't have to register for anything. They're not really gonna do too much. Again, they're probably gonna try and serve you some ads, so they're gonna track you a little bit. They actually request feedback. That's fun. You don't have to use your real name, which is a problem sometimes. Like I remember Google Plus, back when they had their own social media website, they required you to use your real name, and they would ban your account if you didn't. So that's fun. Yeah, that is Wikipedia, and you can read some other ones. Apparently, Reddit also sucks. Yeah, this is an interesting website. Let's keep it at that. Nope, I want to go over here. All right, so that is where I want to leave you there. That's just a fun conglomeration of different terms and conditions. Terms of service, perhaps, is the right word. Maybe I should write that there. So go to this website if you didn't read them and you want to know what is happening for all the social media places that you use, for all the websites that you use. And then finally, before we go to Python for just a second, let's talk about hate speech, inciting violence, lying. Censorship on the internet is really, really hard, okay? Because there's too much data. There's too much stuff for humans to sift through. Like Twitter, Facebook. People are going to post horrible things there. And there's like some machine learning programs that go through all of the tweets, all of the Facebook posts, and they try and flag things that are not appropriate. But some stuff is always going to get through because, I mean, it's just a program. So I just want to leave you with that. The websites try as hard as they can to block this kind of stuff, usually. But yeah, you can find as many examples as you want about this. Like here's a Trump tweet that, for all intents and purposes, seems to be inciting violence. And then Facebook is trying really hard because back in the previous election year, I guess 2016, right? There was so much misinformation, and there were ads that were bought by Russia, things like that, and Facebook caught a lot of flack for doing all that and letting all that stuff in. So they're trying now to do a little bit better. So they're not even going to allow any political advertisements on their platform leading up to the recent election that's about to happen. So everybody's trying, but some things come through the cracks. That's all. Okay, so that is social media in a nutshell with some extra stuff like Google. Let us switch to Python for a second, and then I think I will save this for next time. So remember, back last lecture, I was having a bunch of trouble, or it wasn't any trouble, it was just a lot of work to draw that N. Okay, so I was trying to draw my initials in Python. I was trying to draw ln. And that N required so much work. Because I was on this line, the turtle was facing this way. I needed to turn him so that he would start facing this way so I could draw the N. And then I needed to figure out how long this hypotenuse of this triangle was, because it's the right triangle. What in the world? I need to figure out this angle. So that I could then figure out this angle, because that's how much I needed to turn the turtle by. So hopefully that made sense and you remember that. So there is an easier way, and I want to show you that before I let you go and study for the midterm. So there is a coordinate system, remember. So the turtle, you've been telling him, or in the lecture we've been telling him, well, he starts in the middle and he's faced east. You've been telling him, hey, go 100 steps. Okay? That's a coordinate. Ooh, there's a coordinate system just like in Scratch, isn't there? Whee! So that's the idea. Use the coordinate system to your advantage. So if the turtle starts out at 0, 0, I think, you can move this. You can move him to certain places by just saying, hey, move here. And that's a bit kind of cheating, but it works. The turtle will respond to the go to an XY coordinate command. Okay, and let's see what that's called. Boop. There it is, turtle graphics. So, we've been using forward There is backward as well if you want to get into that. Left and right. Now there are these three. Whatever you want to use, I think they're all the same. They're just giving you a bunch of options to do the same thing. You can say go to, set pause, or set position, and then you give XY coordinates. Okay? So you can do it like this: turtle.setPause and then a certain coordinate. Okay? And initially the turtle should be at 0, 0, and we'll confirm that right now. Okay, so I'm going to import turtle into the REPL just to play around, and then we'll make a new file. All right, turtle.pause. So that gets the current turtle position, and also happen to make the window. So the turtle's current position is 0, 0. Okay. So just keep that in mind when you're doing your programming assignment. That will make things easier. So hint, or I guess not a hint. I've given you the hint. The turtle starts out at the coordinate 0, 0. And remember, he starts out, excuse me, he starts out with his tail down. So that means if you just move him, like, hey turtle, go to, I don't know, go to like 50-50. He will immediately draw a line straight to 50-50. You didn't have to calculate what, like, what angle that was at, how long it needed to be, all that. That was done for you. And then I guess I want to put this here. So for your programming assignment, here's my hint for you. If you need to draw something like an N, imagine, given the current position that you can get, and you'll need to print that out. Print turtle.pause to check yourself. Okay, but the idea is, for your programming assignment, if you need to draw an N or some other cool looking letter that requires some curves and probably some weird angles that you would otherwise have to calculate, like for my N, I want you to instead imagine that you're drawing it within a rectangle. All right, so you got your current XY coordinate, and let's say that was 0, 0, just to make it easy. But then you get to choose. All right, let me draw my N in, I guess in rainbow, that'll be fun. You get to choose all this stuff. Oops. You get to choose the width and the height. Okay, that's the key. Whee! There we go, there's my N. So, choose the width and the height of your letter, and then use that to calculate coordinates to go to. So there's no more forwards anymore if you don't want to use forwards. It makes it slightly easier, but I wanted to teach you the hard way first because that's more like a real turtle would do. All right, so this, let's pretend that my height that I want this to be is like, I don't know, 100. And then maybe the width, because it's an N, right? It's like a little bit shorter than it is taller. It's less wide than it is tall. So maybe we can make this 50. I don't know. So then you get to understand where these coordinates are. All these corners that you need to move the turtle to, like start here, then go here. With your tail down, you'll draw that line. You're saying, all right, go to 0, 100. You see that? So just get your starting position, and then you can have fun. And then instead of like worrying about, all right, what's this angle that I got to turn the turtle by? No, you just say, go, turtle, please go to 50, 0. Once you've picked the width, or the height and the width, you are set. You are set. So this is height. This is width, which is beautiful. All right, and then you're like, all right, turtle. He's still facing east because you haven't turned him probably, but he doesn't care. He's just going to places that you're telling him to go to. And you're like, all right, complete the end, please, for me. Go to, 50, 100. So these coordinates will help you draw these letters. All right. So with that, let me draw you ln again using this goto. Okay? It's either turtle.goto lowercase turtle, and then xy / turtle.setPos xy, either one of these all do the same thing. Turtle.setPosition xy. Okay, all the same. Those are getting a little too close together. There we go. All right, so now let me show you this in action, and that'll be that. Oh no, I think I did something really weird. Oh, it's just going crazy over there. That's better. All right, so now let me make just a quick file and show you this, and that should make things easier. So, like last time, I think I moved all this stuff, which is unfortunate. Like last time, we're gonna import turtle, and we're gonna make our turtle look real cool by making him a turtle. Shape. Please be turtle. And we're gonna set his motion to be really slow, so we watch him draw things. So I think it's speed. Find the speed function on this turtle. We're gonna make him go the slowest. So turtle.speed, either slowest, the string, or 1, the number. And so both of these, this one makes the turtle look like a turtle, and then this one makes the turtle go slowly so we can watch him. And so if you're ever worried about where you are right now, you say print turtle.pos. Okay? This will print the turtle's current position. So you can then use that to draw your stuff. All right, so let's call this drawing with goto.py. All right, so now if I go and I run this, it's going to print out where the turtle starts. He's at address, or he's at coordinates 0, 0. Okay, so if I want to draw my L, let's plan this out. So here's the N. Let's do the same for L, and we'll do the L right at the beginning. So if I want to draw an L with my turtle and only use the goto method or function, I got to pick how big and tall I want my L to be. Let's say I want to draw its enclosing rectangle, so that helps me figure out the coordinates. That's a bad L. I want to follow this rectangle, sorry. There we go. Okay, so hopefully that's all apparent. That's an L. Okay, so the turtle I know starts at 0, 0. So that's where he's going to start. And I need to pick how wide and tall I want this L to be. Maybe I'll make it 150 again, why not? So again, the turtle first needs to go to this coordinate. Starting here, I need him to draw a line up there. So please, turtle, go to address 0, 100. Okay? So this will make your life easier with angles. So let's do that. So we're going to make him go to go to 0, 100. All right, and let's watch this run. I'm going to go to run, and usually I'll do F5 from now on. There he goes. And notice that he kind of just slid along, right? He doesn't change his direction. So you could send him forward, and he'd be going east still. Okay, so the turtle's just not really being a turtle anymore when you use this goto function. But it makes your life a bit easier. So I've drawn the top of my L. Now I need to get him back down here so I can go this way, right? So he needs to go back to 0, 0 before he goes to 50, 0. Yeah? So we gotta send him back down. Back down you go, Mr. Turtle. Alright, so turtle.goto 0, 0. So now I run this. Nothing really changes except the location of the turtle. Now he's ready to go another place. and not like do weird things. Because if I sent him to the end of the L when he was up here, he would draw a line straight down, a little horizontal or diagonal line. All right, so now he's back, and we can have him now go to the proper spot, 50, 0. All right. And then we have an L. Boop. And so now if I want to make an N right next to it, I need to tell the turtle to make a little space that way, right? So, I don't know, maybe 10 is enough? We'll have him go to 60, 0. But we have to make him go there with his tail up so he doesn't draw. Okay? So we'll say turtle dot up, and then turtle go to 60, 0. Yay! So now he's sitting there. You can see there's a little bit of space if you zoom in the video. And now let's do the N. All right, so now we're ready for the N. I'll do this a bit faster. Again, we draw our rectangle that we want to make this N inside of, just to help ourselves figure out what coordinates these need to be at. And here's how I want to draw the N in this order. Boop, boop, boop. All right, so what's this coordinate? 60, 0. What's this coordinate? Well, it's 60, 100. This is, 60 plus 50 if we want to keep it the same width, right? 50, 50. That's 110, 0. And this is 110, 100. So I need to have the turtle go to here, first to here, then to here, then to here. Then I'll draw my N. Okay? That should do it. Every window that I asked for was not the right one. Alright, so can I get this in visible? Almost. There. Alright, so turtle. Turtle dot down, so he starts drawing again. He dipped his tail back into the ink, and now he's setting it down. So now we need to go to 60, 100. Then we need to go to, I'll just copy these. Boop, boop. Then we need to go to 110, 0. And then we need to go to 110, 100. Beautiful. Okay, so that makes it a lot easier. No angles involved. That is where I want to leave you for the content of all this. I do want to write up your essay just briefly, and then I'll be back, explain it to you, and then that'll be that. Okay, I have returned 2 things we're going to talk about, actually. First, your next essay is going to be a very short one, just 500 words, and here's what it's on. Give you 2 weeks to do it, not a whole lot of words. And so you're going to read an article. Make this larger. You'll read an article about this device called the Therac 25, and I want you to write a response to it. So here it is. It'll look like this for you. It's a device. It was a medical device, and you'll read about it. It's a bad story, unfortunately. And I want you to highlight any false assumptions that you found in the article that you saw were made by the companies. And then also just tell me what you would have done differently to prevent this horrible thing from ever getting produced, and all of this, all the horrible things that you're going to read about from ever happening. Okay, so please write a response to that and talk about these things, and then with the rest of your words, just write whatever you'd like. So that's the idea there. Write a response to that and use 500 words. You can cite the article, you can look up other sources about this article if you'd like, but none of that is required. So that is your essay, and then we are in the middle of the semester now. There are, 17-ish weeks. We are in week 8, which is close enough, so I want to do mid-semester evaluations, and I want to highlight that this is 1 anonymous, and 2 just for me. Okay? Just gives me a chance to like do things better. If there's something that you hate about this class, maybe there's still some time for me to change it if it's something that is changeable. Okay, so this is ungraded, it's anonymous, you don't have to do it, but I'd really appreciate it if you would. Ungraded, let me prove to you that it is anonymous. Boop. So do your worst. I know the school's going to ask you to do another one for me, and that's for my real evaluation, but this one's just for me. Okay, so please fill this out, answer all these questions. They will help me make the class better for you and for my future students. So thank you for doing that, and yeah, that's, I think, all I wanted to say there. Good luck on your midterm. That is the other quote-unquote lecture time will be taken up by your midterm, so good luck with that. And remember that I'll be having office hours Thursday and Friday, so if you have any questions, you should try and take the midterm during my office hours so that I can immediately answer those on Zoom. Okay? So with that, I will see you later.